What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Cold Takes from the Land.
Cold Takes from the Land, where you get the coldest takes from the hottest Cleveland sports fans.
And we're spicy today, buddy. Coming off of a win, question mark. That's kind of how I feel about this one against the Indianapolis Colts. That was about everything I didn't expect this game to be. I don't know how you feel, buddy.
Exactly the same. I think I predicted 21-10 we'd win, and here these two damn teams went out and scored almost 80 combined points.
Yeah, it was a shootout that didn't feel like a shootout, is the only way I can explain it.
Yeah, it was it's almost like a flip feeling from last week. Like last week we were all elated to beat the 49ers, and then this week, even though we won, which is great, I kind of came out feeling like, what the fuck? Like, how did we win this game and then almost lose to Gardner Minshew's ass?
Yeah, Gardner was out there looking like Lamar Jackson, which we'll get into more detail when we get into our negatives, I'm sure, but...
Oh, he was out there gardening for sure.
Gardening our ass up.
But, yeah, he was carving our ass up.
Yeah, literally. Hey, whatever, but... Yeah, we'll get into that, but I guess the elephant in the room I'll state, because I don't have it as a part of my positives or negatives, really. I guess it could be a negative, but Deshaun Watson... This was his return game, and he immediately left in the first quarter, and he looked terrible. And I think this screams that he wasn't ready yet.
Yeah, he did not look good out there at all. Threw 2 picks, really, but the one got called back because the ball touched the ground. Definitely, I agree with you there. Didn't look right at all. I don't know if it was the front office kind of forcing him or pushing him to play, but... In the post-game, Stefanski even kind of touched on it. He's like, I kind of did what I felt like was best. I was trying to protect my players. And in the back of my head, I'm like, why the fuck was he out there anyway? Like, if he couldn't throw the ball, he had 5 throw attempts, I think, only completed 1. And we were kind of texting back and forth when the game had started. He couldn't throw the ball 10, 15 yards. Like, he just was getting no zip on the ball. So I don't know what was going on there.
Yeah, on the interception he threw.
It wasn't good, buddy.
Yeah, on the interception he threw, he tried to make a play down the sideline, and he, kind of launched it, but it just, fluttered out in the air and went straight to the DB when, I think it was Elijah Moore he tried to throw to. It was a good, 6-7 yards, open behind that DB, but he just couldn't get it to him. And, Watson isn't a guy that has a weak arm, so clearly he just probably was not 100%. So good on Stefanski at least to hold him out the rest of the game, to play it safe, even though he was cleared actually. But Stefanski...
He was cleared again. What do you make of that? He was cleared in the game. They checked him for a concussion, didn't have that, and then they I know they couldn't do a what do they call that? Not an MRI, or is it an MRI? I guess on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say they obviously couldn't do that, but they did preliminary checks on that to make sure nothing was terribly wrong, and they cleared him to go back in. Why do you think they sat him?
I'm thinking Kevin just was trying to play it safe and I think he also saw that, this guy is clearly not throwing it to the ability that I know he can, and I think he was playing it safe. And to me, that shows that it maybe wasn't Stefanski pushing him to play. We even mentioned it in our text messages during the game that this might be a Jimmy Haslam thing, just really trying to get his $230 million man out there, but I guess we'll never know the truth.
Very well
to that.
Could be. This is the same guy that drafted Johnny Manziel, so I wouldn't put it past him.
That is true. That's a topic we'll have to touch on someday, is the story behind that, because that is a wild one. But I just wanted to touch on. Yeah, I just wanted to touch on the Deshaun
Weird times
thing.
At the El Royale. Yeah, definitely. I was gonna say it's just still a weird situation how they're handling it. Because I don't know if you caught this, but in the post game, Stefanski also said that Watson is going to be the starter next week. And then when Watson came up to the podium, he said, I'm not sure. He's like, we're going to see how the week goes, see how I'm feeling, see how the shoulder is. It just seems like they're not really, I don't know if they're not communicating amongst the two of them or what's going on, but there's some weird disconnect in there between the two of them, or how this team is actually coming out and telling us what's going on. I don't think they're being very forthcoming with everything.
Yeah, I'm also hearing there was kind of rumblings. Now this is just rumors, but that Kevin seemed a bit frustrated with the medical staff because he still wasn't getting a clear answer and whatnot.
Okay.
Which
I didn't hear that actually.
Yeah, so I'd say it was just speculation because obviously we're not gonna know anything like that just off of press conferences and the games. But yeah, I just wanted to I just wanted to touch on that before we get into our positives and negatives, which this is going to be a weird one. So I guess we can start with our 3 positives. Again, even though this is a weird game, but we got to take something from it, and a win is a win. So I'll let you roll first, buddy, on your first of your 3 positives.
All right, man. So if you had to guess, what would my first positive be, you think? What have I been harping on all year long?
We managed to win the turnover battle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4-2. We got 3 fumbles and an interception, so we finally won the damn turnover battle. So that was huge for us. Obviously, Myles Garrett was a menace out there. He had the two forced fumbles, the one which led directly to the touchdown there. He had 2 sacks, 7 total tackles. So turnover battle, we won 4-2, which was huge.
Wow.
And honestly, in the disparity there, we had 2 more turnovers than them, and we still almost lost. So we needed all 4 of those to get it done this week.
For sure. Yeah, all those are extremely valuable. And my first positive, again, I intentionally didn't do the turnover battle because I knew you were going to talk about it.
Yep.
But my first is actually just Myles Garrett himself. 9 total tackles, 7 of them being solo tackles, 2 sacks, both of them strip sacks, a tackle for loss, a pass defense, a blocked field goal. That was a defensive player of the year caliber game if I've ever seen one. Obviously I know it's a tight race between him and TJ and whatnot, but he looked insane. He looked absolutely insane out there, and I just wanted to give him some flowers on his own because he looked like the game wrecker that he's built up to be.
Yeah, he definitely took the game over, and I forgot about the blocked field goal, to be honest with you. I don't know how I could forget about that, but
brother,
that was
he
pretty
jumped
wild.
over the line. He Troy Polamalu their asses.
He Troy Polamalu their asses. But yeah, that was insane. I was I think I was texting you when that had happened because I was looking down at my phone, and I looked back up, and I think I caught the replay, and I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, is that number 95? I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, it's Myles Garrett. I'm like, he blocked that damn kick.
Yeah, I saw
Not that it was probably going to go in anyway. It was a 60-yard attempt, but still, it was huge. It gave us great field position, so that was sweet.
Right, I saw the kick get blocked, but obviously I couldn't quite tell how it got blocked, and then yes, kind of same as you. And I saw the replay, I was like, Jesus. This guy.
Yeah, he's not even normally out there on those plays, is he? On the special team plays like that?
I'm honestly not sure. I know they just, for field goal block units, they just try to get tall and long dudes to, get their arms up there.
Right, see if you can get an arm on it.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm not 1,000% sure, but yeah, that was my first positive.
All right, buddy. So my second one, this is the first time this has happened. I actually had the same thing you did, Myles Garrett. So
Ooh.
You kind of echoed everything perfectly there, but 7 total tackles, the blocked field goal, 2 sacks, the 2 forced fumbles. I mean, not much more you could do if you're Myles Garrett. He pretty much single-handedly helped get this done.
No, for sure. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we already touched on there, and then you added to it. Yeah, he was just absolutely insane. And this isn't a positive, but I do want to shout it out. Fucking Zadarius Smith finally got a sack.
I saw that. I don't remember that. When was it? At the very end of the game?
It was the strip sack at the end of the game that won us. That sealed us the game.
That's what I thought because I looked and I was ready to come out here and tear his ass a new one, and then I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, it says he has a sack. And I'm like, when did he get a sack? I'm like, he must have got that last one.
Mm-hmm. Yep, he sure did, buddy. But
nice.
My second, my second positive is actually our kicker, Dustin Hopkins. Another absolutely great day.
You son of a bitch! You took 2 of mine.
Are you serious?
Yep. So I was going to say we can just kind of rib off each other on this one then, but yeah. Go on about old Dustin Hopkins, buddy.
Yeah, 4 for 4. I'm pretty sure it was multiple 50-plus yarders, and including a 58-yarder with ease that, if you want to do the Cade York comparison, he hit that 58-yarder against Carolina last year that hooked in and barely made it in. Hopkins made it look easy, and that looked like that thing would have been in from 65. He
crushed that.
It shows that don't fucking draft kickers.
Especially in the 4th round.
Yeah, Jesus. Just keep signing them free agents, undrafted free agents. Maybe take them in the 7th round if you want. But you're never gonna know when you find that guy. Justin Tucker was an undrafted free agent who had been with a couple other teams before he landed with the Ravens, and now he's one of the best kickers to ever do it. And I'm hoping we get that with Hopkins, for the next few years.
Yeah, man, he had that, like you said, the 58 one that would have been good from 60. He had a 54-yarder today, and then he had 2 others. I think he accounted for 15 total points here, it says. So just massive. I mean, between him and Myles, they pretty much single-handedly got this victory for us. with kickers too, you kind of just touched on it, but like you said, don't draft kickers high, don't draft them in the 4th round, and if you don't have a kicker like we didn't have, you really don't have to give up much in the trade, in trade talks to actually get one. Like, what did we give up for this guy? Like a 6th rounder or something like that?
Yeah, it was something like a very far in the future, like 6th or 7th round pick.
Right. I'm like, anybody outside of maybe Justin Tucker, I can't see fetching much of a price at all. So, like, if you don't have one, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to take too much to get one.
No, for sure. Yeah, for sure. And obviously, you kind of already said I stole your last one there, too, so you mind if I just get into my 3rd one there?
Yeah, go ahead.
My 3rd one, I'll be honest, I was kind of having a hard time picking one just because it was a very ugly game, but I am going to shout out Kareem Hunt. He had 2 touchdowns, only 31 yards on the ground, only averaged 3 yards a carry, but it was a lot of really tough yards. He was just grinding it out and, kind of wearing down the defense where he could, and then he did get 2 pretty big touchdowns, towards the goal line. Obviously, Jerome Ford had the big run, but I'll get more into him later because I'm not specifically pleased with him outside of that one run, but
that short midget bastard. Had about enough of his ass.
Jeez. I don't want to kill him too much because he did get injured, and obviously that sucks. But no,
I'll kill him at halftime. I'll kill him at halftime. All right,
but we'll get into it. But no, my last thing I wanted to shout out Kareem Hunt, just getting some tough yards. I was obviously kind of surprised he didn't really get much of a look in the screen game or nothing, but just having a couple touchdowns, pretty big touchdowns, especially when neither of our QBs threw one. It's pretty big.
Definitely, especially with him coming into the game. Neither one of us thought he was going to play, and the fact that he did get 10 touches and then had the 2 touchdowns, the big one to seal the game at the end there was huge for us.
No, for sure. Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I think that's our 3 positives we were able to mutter up. Obviously, must not have been too much if we managed to have 2 of the same 3 positives.
No, yeah, it was a very weird game. I mean, I'm glad we won. 4-2 is a lot better than 3-3, but there's a whole lot we can improve on going into next week.
For sure, and I'll enter right into the negatives here. I'll go first if you don't mind. The first thing I'm going to point out is specifically the Browns' run blocking. I thought we pass protected actually pretty okay, especially considering because we know the issues we've
made
had.
A big difference.
Yeah, for sure, in the pass protection. But, the run blocking just didn't look very good. There were multiple plays, whether it was a pitch, an inside run, outside zone, whatever, where, either someone just got blew up or, they blitzed and just completely overwhelmed the line. And you would think we blocked well enough against the 49ers, which is a scarier defense than the Colts, which the Colts are still a pretty good defense, but we were able to hold up against the Niners relatively okay without Joel Bitonio, already without Jack Conklin, and on top of the fact that our center was banged up, and he's still banged up, I'm pretty sure. But we get Bitonio back, and we get an all-pro caliber guard back, and we play worse. I understand, the Colts' strength on their defensive line is that front 4, but, they were missing one of their starting defensive tackles, so you'd think, single out DeForest Buckner and, just try to handle the rest.
Yeah,
and
he still wreaked havoc on this game, too. I mean, he was making plays all over the place.
Yeah, he's real good. But, yeah, I was just very disappointed in our run blocking because, we did get 150 total rush yards with 3 touchdowns. So, you are pretty happy with that, though that is a bit inflated from that big Jerome Ford run. But, yeah, I mean, the strength of our offensive line, even in weeks prior where we struggled in pass protection, we're giving up one too many sacks, was always our run blocking. So I was definitely a bit surprised to see it have such a down week.
Right. I remember the one play in specific. I think it was a toss crack to the left side to Jerome Ford. It was when he got that 6-yard loss. And as soon as he tossed him that ball, I mean, dude, there was 5 guys on top of him. I was I didn't know if it was on him at first. Then I looked up. I'm oh my gosh. I'm on the replay, there's nobody blocking. I'm what the hell's going on?
Yeah, we poop on Jerome Ford, but I mean, he's not going to be able to do a whole lot when he's got 5 Colts in his face before he can even think about anything.
That was terrible. I mean, yeah, that was immediate. There was 5 guys on him. I'm yeah, I agree. I echo the same sentiments there. There's not a lot of good run blocking this past game, but definitely something we can improve on. And going into my first negative, our boy Donovan Peoples-Jones, buddy. 2 more catches today for 22 yards. But outside of that, one thing I do want to touch on, he had the one play where he was returning the punt. I think he had about 10 good yards in front of him, and he fair caught the ball. He's just not a good punt returner at all. He's not doing anything in the receiving game. He can't seem to create any kind of separation. I don't know if it's just because he doesn't have the speed to do it or what, but I think it's getting to the point as Cleveland Browns fans that I think the DPJ experiment's over. I think we got to go find somebody else.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't even know. I mean, obviously, maybe for this year, obviously pending Watson's health, you're trying to win, so maybe go pull off that move for Devontae Adams or go get, I don't know, somebody. But I think you got to get Cedric Tillman out there. I'd like to see more Tillman, and I'd like to see more Marquise Goodwin.
I'd love to see him out there for sure. And Goodwin. I was going to say Goodwin seems to be good for like 120-yard play every single game, and he just doesn't get a whole lot of looks or other opportunities.
He's great on those reverses. I mean, I could see, setting up more screens or getting a couple deep shots, which I feel like we saw that in week 1 against the Bengals. And again, a terrible weather game where he actually got open on a couple deep shots, but I feel like we haven't thrown him a single one since that game. But yeah, DPJ is
it's tough too, obviously, when you don't have Watson out there because Walker's got a good arm, but even especially in this season when he's played for us, like I don't know about you, but every time he goes to throw it more than like 20 yards, it looks like he's about to throw his damn shoulder out. Like he looks like he has to put so much on it to even get the ball down there. Yeah. So it's kind of tough when you don't have Watson out there, obviously. But
yeah, for sure.
We gotta change it up a bit and give other guys opportunities because DPJ is not cutting it. And like you said, maybe get Tillman in there. He's a little younger. He has better hands. I think he's going to be able to catch the ball a little bit better. So see if he can create any separation and kind of work to Goodwin's speed and utilize that the best we can. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I definitely agree. And with that, my second negative is also related to the pass game, but I'm just going to single out PJ Walker. Again, I still think he performed better than like DTR would have, but again, like he had a pretty bad week against the 49ers, but you can kind of mulligan that for the most part just because the 49ers are such a good defense. But
yeah,
PJ's out there and he just looks like he's making decisions late. He's missing throws. Like you said, whenever he's trying to take a deep shot, it looks like he's putting everything in a ham sandwich into it to get it out there. And it just
that almost strip sack he had where the guy flew through and knocked the ball out. I almost had a conniption. I was like, "What are we doing?" I'm like, as soon as they hiked it, I saw the blitz was coming, and I'm like, "Throw the damn ball!"
Yeah, you can just tell like he's a little jittery in the pocket. And he's just not the most comfortable out there. And this like really screams like if Watson's injury got reactivated like real bad or something, you gotta go find another guy. Like go get Brissett back or sign someone like a guy that stops into our work very often. Brought up Carson Wentz, and I was like, honestly, like I would much rather see Carson Wentz out there than PJ Walker.
So what? Because at least I don't think he's getting signed to the active roster after that game today. I mean, I think he kind of touched on it as well in his post game, but he said he didn't take any first team reps all week, and I'm like, that goes back to like, man, Deshaun's not fully healthy, so it's like, at least give the backup an opportunity to get out there with the first team and kind of get his footing about him, but he never could really get it going in this game either. We kind of thought he would have a bounce back.
Yeah, as I say, I didn't expect him to play out of his mind or anything like that, but like you just think
just play a little cleaner football.
Yeah, but he threw another interception. He did have a nice throw towards the end of the game to Elijah Moore on the drive that got us the game-winning touchdown, which
that was his best throw of the game by far.
I will give him that kudos. He has pretty damn good composure. Both games, late drives where we're down, he didn't turn the ball over and was able to stay composed. But
definitely
outside of that, he just wasn't very good.
Yeah, we just don't want to see this team's, especially on the defensive side, we don't want to see this talent go to waste. Like, how many years can we keep wasting the talent of Myles Garrett? So we got to go out there and get a quarterback, whether it's Carson Wentz, like you said, maybe make a trade, call Washington, see if Jacoby Brissett's available. Mm-hmm. But I think they're going to have to kind of come to some harsh realizations this week if Watson's not going to be healthy and if he's not ready to go, that we're going to need somebody else out there.
Yeah, for sure.
And I kind of pitched in there too because that was my second one as well, QB play. PJ Walker, obviously, as you touched on, 15 for 32, had the one interception for 178 yards. Didn't really do anything with his feet at all. I don't think he had any rushes. He might have had like one first down rush for 5 or 6 yards, I think, earlier on in the game. Mm-hmm. But just never really got it going in the pass game. Unlike last week where he did hit Amari Cooper for 108 yards, he didn't have even that going for him this week. He only had two receptions for, I think it was 20 yards, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so couldn't really get Cooper going again. And like you touched on as well before, the pass blocking was actually pretty good. We only gave up 2 sacks this game, both of which I think were later on in the game.
Yeah.
So it's not like he was being crazy rushed. He just couldn't really get anything going or find anybody. He
Right.
found a Joku a little bit up the middle, but that was about it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and as I'd say, can't agree with you more. Let's say we're having the same points again, but we're beating a dead
the
horse.
divisional
But
games too, think how tough this is going to be. If we have PJ Walker playing against the Steelers, Bengals, or Ravens, man, there's just no way. He just doesn't have enough to get it done against those teams.
yeah, it won't be good. But
I mean, you'd think we could beat him because we beat the 49ers with him, but those divisional games are just tough. I mean, everybody always gets up for those games. Nobody wants to lose to the Browns, and we don't want to lose to the Steelers, so it's a little bit different when you're playing rivals.
No, for sure. Yeah, I agree. But with that, my last negative, and I made the comment in our preview video that there's gonna be a time where the defense will break and have a bad game. Like I said, every great defense has a bad game. And this was the one I made. I don't want to say I called it, but I said these running backs can be scary. And Gardner Minshew, if you let him, can find sweet spots in the defense, and you can make Gardner Minshew look pretty good. Like I said, I compared him to Baker Mayfield just with a weaker arm. So, he came out, had 4 total touchdowns, was out there looking like Lamar Jackson on these read options,
that was ridiculous.
Along with 2 touchdowns he threw, with multiple big plays, the one to Josh Downs and then the other to Michael Pittman. Downs was just a broken coverage, just beat him off man, and then Michael Pittman was just a big play over the middle with piss poor tackling, and then obviously the run game was just consistently getting through all day. Obviously this is what I'm hoping is rare, obviously, because we've seen how great this defense plays against much better offenses. But I'm kind of thinking we did, which was my third key to victory last week, is I thought we overlooked the Colts a little bit, at least overlooked their offense.
Yeah, we definitely did. Definitely. With that too, like you said, we kind of just came out, it felt like we were a little lackadaisical all game on defense. The good thing is, the one game that we gave up the most yardage in, we actually won the turnover battle, so that was good on our end.
That's why we win the turnover battle.
Yeah, if you're going to give up that many yards, if you're going to give up 300-plus passing yards to Minshew, the backup quarterback, if you're going to let JT kind of get his footing, this was his best game back by far so far. If you're going to do that, you got to come out and win the turnover battle, which we did, and that was the only thing that kind of helped us offset what they were doing on offense a little bit there.
For sure. Yeah, 100%. But, I love Jim Schwartz. I think he's doing a great job, and I definitely think he's going to rip him a new ass in practice this week and, go over a lot of film and get him ready for the Seahawks, because if the Colts are doing that to you, I can only imagine what DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are going to, do to you, especially on your corners. And, that is the one thing about a team that plays a lot of man is it will happen sometimes, like I said, where if you get some receivers who are good man beaters and are good at stretching the field, you can give up some big plays here and there and let the defense get behind you, and obviously you want to avoid that as much as possible. But yeah, this game it blew up to an extreme for sure.
Yeah, and I'll go into my third and final negative here. So this is going back to the defense again. I thought the linebackers were pretty piss poor all around today. I mean, that second level of our defense, the running game pretty much was gashing us all day long. It didn't really. I think JOK, this might have been his worst game this season so far. Anthony Walker had a tackle or two, which was nice. Taki was out, obviously, so we had Fields in there for a lot of the game. But linebackers weren't really doing much. They weren't plugging up the gaps in the run game. Didn't really make a difference in the passing game. A lot of guys were open up the middle, so that was my third negative, was the linebacking core today.
For sure. Yeah, a lot of piss poor tackling and effort in the middle of the field, I noticed, especially on that big Pittman touchdown, like I said. But
yeah, a lot of that doesn't help too when obviously Denzel Ward goes down in what was it, the fourth quarter, end of the third quarter. So when you have your number one man corner out, that's going to put a little bit more on the linebackers to help out a little bit more. But not a great job by them today, but thankfully still came away with the win, which is all we can ask for, I guess.
Yeah, that front four really came through at the end there, with obviously Garrett playing well all game, and then Za'Darius making that play right at the end, and even Obo.
We needed that.
Yeah, and then Arkawankro, even after getting hurt, came in and was able to make a couple plays. So,
yeah, he was good again, man. He's been great all year for us.
With that too, how nervous were you at the end of this game? Because even though there was 15 seconds left, I'm looking up, I'm like, they got one timeout, and I'm like, it would be the way for the Browns to lose if these motherfuckers get 40 yards here and then kick a field goal to beat us.
No, I have a perfect scenario to attest to this. After we scored the touchdown, everyone in the bar was cheering and whatnot, and my girlfriend's sitting in front of me. And I'm standing behind her because I'm standing up, obviously, because when you get really into it, you're up and you're all into it. And she looks around and she's like ready to celebrate. She's like, "We won!" And I'm like, "Oh, there's 15 seconds. I've seen this book end this way too many times. So you hold on just a second."
My cousin was doing the same thing. He's like, "Yeah, we're 4-2." I'm like, "We're not 4-2 yet." I'm like, "We got 15 seconds left. Sit down and shut the fuck up."
No, for sure. But do you have anything else you want to add before we get to the wrap up here?
Yeah, I don't think anything in specific, man. Just bad game all around. There's a lot to improve on, but the fact that we came away with a win when we played this poorly on offense is a huge deal. In this division where the worst team is 3-3 right now, Steelers won again today, so they're 4-2, and they beat us, obviously, the first game, so we got to come back and tie that up if we can.
For sure.
The Ravens absolutely laid a whooping on the fucking Lions today, so that sucked.
Yeah,
so
they kicked
every win
their
is huge.
Ass.
Yeah, they beat the shit out of them. And Myles Garrett said after the game, he's like, we got to keep stacking wins. So that is the case. We got to go out next week and get it done against Seattle, and then hopefully come out and do the same against Arizona. Arizona is going to kind of be like this game where Seattle's a little bit tougher, but can't overlook Arizona. So we're going to have to start stacking wins and keep doing what we're doing. But this offense, we got to figure something out, man, because the rushing game's been okay. I mean, not great there, obviously. We didn't even talk about Jerome Ford yet. We'll kind of touch on that here for a moment. But outside of his one run, Jerome Ford had for 69 yards. You want to guess what the rest of his stat line was for the whole rest of the day?
Oh, I'm looking right at it, but I'll let you read it off.
Yeah, he had 10 more rushes for a total of 5 yards. So absolutely nothing. I mean, he had one good catch. I think he had a screen catch for about 10 yards, but he doesn't really add as much as like a Kareem Hunt does in the passing game. Not a great blocker or anything, obviously, just due to his size, and he's a little smaller, but I don't know, man. We got to find something in the run game that's a little more consistent. We got to get the passing game going. That's what I'm mainly worried about, obviously, with our QB troubles in the QB room we're having right now. These receivers, nobody's really stepping up outside of Amari Cooper. We got to figure something out on offense going forward, or else even if we get into the playoffs somehow, we're going to get absolutely waxed. We're going to kind of feel like Pittsburgh has the last 5-6 years where they make it barely and get clapped in the first week of the playoffs.
You know what? I can't agree with you more, and I'm not even going to rebuttal on anything you said because I completely agree. But before we get out of here, I will end on a positive because I just want to remind us Browns fans that we have seen this game before. We've seen this game dozens and dozens of times, except the tides are always flipped. It's like multiple times a year. It's a game where the Browns would come out. Their underdogs are projected to lose, and they come out. The offense looks weirdly good. The defense is playing well. They clearly outplay the other team, but they find a way to somehow lose it in the end. Whether it's mistakes or turnovers or just something miraculous happening, or some bad calls or whatever it is. We've seen this game a bunch of times where the Browns were in the Colts position, but it's nice to see a game where we got outplayed across the board and we were able to pull through. And I think that speaks a lot, honestly, to the coaching of this team. Say what you want about Kevin Stefanski. I'm very much on the side of Kevin Stefanski believer. And, previously run teams, weren't able to, fight out wins when we clearly got outplayed. We've won 2 of the last 4 years. We've been able to come out and win week 1, which we'd only did once for damn near 20 years. I do want to end on a positive. Like I said, this is a game that we've seen a bunch of times, but normally it's us in the opposite position. So it's just nice to see us get a win in a game where we clearly shouldn't have won.
Yeah, winning these close games is tough too. It always tests your resolve, and we kind of touched to it last week when we were talking in our last episode. But coming out and winning a game like this, I mean, it did show a lot about our coaching. I don't know if you saw any of my angry tweets during the game, but I was real upset with some of the calls Stefanski was making. But at the end of the day, he came through. I thought the play calling on that last drive was excellent. where Njoku had a couple drops. That flick pass was right in his chest. I mean, he could have walked into the end zone if he held on to that.
Yeah, that sucks.
But,
yeah, I remember
I mean, the
watching
play
that.
calling was great. I mean, it's not Stefanski's fault. He dialed up a good play. They weren't ready for it. They were clearly confused on the defensive side, and he would have walked into the end zone. So I thought the play calling was great on that last drive. And again, we only won by 1 point this week, but did what we had to do with the backup quarterback, or third-string quarterback, I should say. He went down the whole length of the field and then put us in a position to win where Kareem could punch it in at the end. So 4-2 is a hell of a lot better than 3-3, buddy. I was ready to come out here and tear this team a new one at 3-3, because 3-3 at this point, with the Steelers somehow being 4-2 and the Ravens going on this run, it wouldn't be good.
For sure. Yeah, 100%. And can't agree with you more. And with that, it's been another episode, and we appreciate you guys for listening or watching, whatever it is you're doing while you're hearing us rant or be jovial about the Browns, either or. But once again, a win is a win. Love to be 4-2. You know,
A win is a win is a win is a win. That's what they always say, buddy.
Yep. Don't matter to me. I'll win 3-2 every week as long as we win. Well, maybe not that bad.
That is true.
But either way,
that's the only way the offense could look worse, if we come out there and put up 3 every fucking week.
Yeah, good God. At least that didn't happen. But once again, we appreciate you guys for watching, and obviously we'll be pumping out more content, more stuff coming soon. Cavs start here in a few days, and
Yeah,
excited
we're gonna have
about
to get a Cavs
that.
video out of here soon this week too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have to get a little predictions video in for you guys. We'll probably touch on where we think they'll finish, obviously, in the standings and like seeding and all that good stuff. So we'll get that out here soon.
For sure. Yeah, but yeah, once again, appreciate you guys for watching. And yeah, it's been Cold Takes from the Land. We'll see you in the next one.
God takes from the land.